Greetings, welcome, and thank you for clicking. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, encouraging your journey with Reiki, card reading, and coaching for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones, offering spiritual guidance and encouragement for life's challenging questions. Greetings, welcome, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones. I am so honored to have you join me. This week's question comes from Francine. I don't know what to do. I've been receiving a lot of signs lately, like seeing 1111 or 444, and a cardinal has been showing up in my yard for weeks. My sister called me just as I was thinking about her. The one that scares me the most happened yesterday when I met my friend for lunch. She was wearing a dragonfly necklace, and when I went out to my car, a dragonfly was on the windshield. All of these signs are making me wonder if something is going to happen. How do I stop them? Francine. Well, thank you, Francine, for this question. This is a great question. What a wonderful topic to talk about, signs. So thank you so much for this question, Francine. Francine, I have a few things that come up as I read your question that I want to make sure to pass along to you. The first thing that I want to say about this is, how to say this, Francine? Congratulations. Francine, the truth is that we are all always receiving signs. So all of us are always getting signs from the universe, God, angels, spirit guides, whatever you might identify with, we are always getting signs. Whether we notice them or not is another thing. So we may be getting signs all of the time, but it doesn't mean that we notice them. It doesn't mean that we realize them. It doesn't mean that we are paying attention or realizing that we are receiving the signs. And so, Francine, when you are, I'm getting the impression that you're almost feeling like, enough is enough with the signs already. And the thing is that we are all always getting signs all of the time. And if we all realized all of the signs all of the time that were coming to us, we just might feel that kind of way, like enough is enough. Stop trying to communicate with me. Stop giving me messages. So, Francine, the fact that you are seeing and receiving all of these signs is actually really positive because it tells me, Francine, or it suggests to me that you are paying attention, that you are watching and listening and receiving signs. Now, I will say a few more things about that, but I do want to say that when we recognize the signs, when we notice them, our guides, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, gives us more of them. And I have actually been informed of this myself by my own guides. When I receive messages and I'll say, oh, thanks for the messages. And I've actually had my guides say to me that they send me messages because they know that I'm going to see them, and they know that I'm going to appreciate them and thank them. And they've also told me that they'd like to do it for fun too, that it's just a kind of play. And so, Francine, first of all, the fact that you are noticing the signs is actually great. I know you're thinking right now, that's not what I meant, Christian. That is not my question. My question is, how do I get rid of these signs? But it actually is a positive thing that you are noticing them. And so, Francine, what I actually encourage you to do is, rather than maybe putting your energy into being freaked out by the signs. Maybe I recommend thinking about putting energy into acknowledging them in a playful kind of way and saying thanks for them. And I recommend this because this is something that I have done and I do. And like I said, I've received the message from my spirit guides that, yeah, they do it because I notice. And I've actually had really interesting things happen, like specific, very, whoa, wild, synchronistic or interesting things. And my guides have said to me, yeah, we know that you're going to notice. And so we do these kinds of things because you're going to notice, and we like it when you notice it, and we like it when you acknowledge it. And so, Francine, I want to encourage you, rather than acknowledging to me and saying, oh, I'm seeing these signs and they're freaking me out, I might encourage you to acknowledge the signs to your guides, to the universe, to God, to your higher power, whatever it is that you identify with and that resonates with you. So, Francine, acknowledge it to them. Acknowledge that you see the signs, acknowledge that you are aware of them. And I would also encourage you to say thank you for them. And maybe you aren't really feeling thankful for them because they're freaking you out. But when you say thank you for them, your guides are going to know that it's okay. And your guides are going to send you more. And they're going to appreciate that you acknowledge them. Now, you're thinking, Christian, this is exactly what I don't want. I don't want more signs. I want them to go away. Okay. Yes. If you want the signs to go away, you can just ask. You can talk to your guides and say, hey, guides, I'm getting all of these signs lately, and it's freaking me out. Can you please just maybe not give me so many signs right now? Or you can even, Francine, ask for specific signs. Like, hey, guides, the numbers freak me out. The dragonfly, it freaks me out. But if you can show me, maybe the cardinal doesn't freak you out. If you can show me the cardinal, then I'll be okay with that. And I'll appreciate it and say thank you. And you can have this dialogue with your guides and just let them know. Francine, they're not doing it to freak you out. So they're not sending you numbers and cardinals and dragonflies to say, haha, let's freak out Francine. They're doing it to show you that they're there. They're doing it to show you that you are loved. They're doing it to get your attention. Now, does this mean that they are trying to get your attention because, you wonder if something is going to happen? No, not necessarily. Signs don't have to mean anything other than hello, or hi, Francine. How's it going? We're thinking of you, Francine. Wink, wink, Francine. So your guides can just be saying hello. The universe, God, can just be saying hello. And that could be it. And it might be nothing more than that. So just because you see signs doesn't mean that they indicate that some terrible thing is going to happen, or even some really amazing thing could happen, Francine. You're worried, you're wondering if something is going to happen. My assumption is that you're worried that something bad is going to happen. But something good could happen. And just because you see signs does not mean that something good or bad is going to happen. Francine, sometimes a cardinal is just a cardinal. So sometimes you might see a cardinal and think, oh, it's a dead loved one. Yeah, sure, it could be. But sometimes a cardinal is just a cardinal. And it's not some grand sign from the universe. Now you might be thinking, great, Christian, how do I know the difference? Well, a couple of ways that you can know the difference. Number one is your feelings, how it feels to you, what it feels to you, and whether it feels to you like a sign. Another way is if you see the sign again and again and again. So I know you're thinking, yes, this cardinal has been coming around. Sure, it very well may be a sign. Or it may just be a cardinal showing up in your backyard, and it doesn't have any meaning beyond the fact that the cardinal right now likes your backyard. So I want to encourage you to consider all of those things, Francine. Now, this may end up making you having you feel confused and thinking, oh my gosh, now I don't know what is a sign, what isn't a sign. Well, how do I know what is a sign? If you're not sure if something is a sign or not, then the chances are good that it's not. If you notice the sign and it feels like a sign, it's probably a sign. And if you're not sure if something is a sign, you can ask for a sign. So you can ask for a sign if a sign is a sign. Oh, Francine, I want to say some other things on this. And I really want to talk about this idea of signs as being loved. And I have a particular story that I would like to tell Francine. Now, I am blessed to have many of these stories from my own experience, but this is one of my absolute favorites. So, as I was driving from my previous home to my current home, I was moving from one state to another. And as I was driving, I heard, as I came into the area of my new home, I heard on the radio an advertisement for a thrift store. And it is the largest thrift store in the country. I love thrift stores. I very much believe in buying secondhand, and I like to buy my clothes secondhand, my furniture secondhand. I like to buy secondhand items. I believe in the reduce, reuse, recycle ethos. And so I heard this message, this commercial for the largest thrift store in the country, just in my town where I was moving to, in my new town. And I exclaimed as I'm driving down the highway, "Thank you, God, you really love me." And I turned the dial on the radio, and Francine, I'm not kidding. I'm actually going to tear up here a little bit, Francine. There was a voice on the next station that I flipped to that said, "Just a sign that you are loved." And that was it. And then my finger was on the dial scrolling through the stations. So I just tapped the dial and went on to another station. I was like, wait, oh my God, did I just hear that? Yes, just a sign that you are loved. Wow. And so, Francine, that's really what these signs really often are. Just signs that you are loved. Whether or not you assign meaning to them or what meaning you assign to them is particular to you. And so, for instance, you seeing a cardinal might mean one thing to you, and to someone else it might mean something completely different. I know it's a common theme that cardinals are supposed to represent loved ones who have passed on. And that very well may be the case for you, but it doesn't have to be. You might see a cardinal and it might mean something completely different to you. Or it may mean, I have the feeling that this is my dead grandmother coming to visit me. Sure, maybe. Absolutely. But what's really important, Francine, is what it means to you. And the signs and the messages that are for you. And what you feel, the meaning that you derive from them. And even the meaning that you create from them. Another sign that was really very moving for me is I was in my late teens. I was 19, and I was driving to a very important appointment, and I was feeling nervous when a hawk flew straight across my windshield. And I knew immediately that was for me. I knew immediately that was something that the universe, God, my guides, had done for me as a message of it's going to be okay. We're with you. And that was the first time that I noticed hawk. And hawk is with me all of the time now. And I see hawks frequently, especially when I'm having challenging times. There was one point in my life where I was going through a rather transformational experience. It was a difficult time in my life. And I found a dead hawk. And I buried a dead hawk. It was dead on a snow mound, of all places. And I buried the hawk in the snow. And I find hawk feathers in the woods. And so someone else might see a hawk feather and say, oh, cool, a hawk feather. And I see a hawk feather and I say, thank you, universe. I know this is for me. I know that you're with me. This is going right on my altar. So, Francine, it's not so important what the messages are, but rather what they mean to you. So it's not so important how your guides are sending messages, whether through numbers or birds or dragonflies or whatever they might be. What's really important is that the meaning you derive from it. What's really important is that it's meaningful for you and that you assign meaning to it. And so, Francine, I want to encourage you that when you see a sign like multiple numbers or words or whatever it might be, that you explore that for yourself, asking yourself, what does that mean to me? Is this a sign? Is this something for me? And if so, what does it mean? Because the truth is, Francine, I cannot tell you what all of these signs mean. You know, you're wondering what they're all about. What do they mean? Is something going to happen? I can't tell you that. And I think that it can be a little dangerous for us to say, oh, Francine, you saw a dragonfly. You know that means transformation. Dragonflies do mean transformation. And, Francine, the truth is that they might mean that for you, and they might mean something different. And that's okay. When it comes to the signs and what meaning you derive from them, there is no right or wrong. And so I want to encourage you to explore your own feelings about the signs and the meaning that they may be conveying and what the universe may be communicating to you. And I'll tell you that if there is a message that they really need to get to you, so it's not just a, hey, Francine, how you doing, girl? But it's a, Francine, you need to pay attention to this. Then the message will be clear and it will be insistent. And there won't be any mistaking it. So know that these signs are not meant to scare you. These signs are coming from a place of love. These signs are coming from a place of the universe, spirit guides, angels, wanting to say hi and send a message that you are loved. Just a message that you are loved. And that could be all it is. And I think when you look at it that way, that's not so bad. It's not so bad to see multiple numbers or dragonflies or cardinals or thinking of your family member, your sister, before she calls and your phone rings. It's just about recognizing those signs and allowing you to gather the meaning from them. You know, it's kind of like breadcrumbs, Francine. The universe leaves breadcrumbs. The universe throws out little pieces of bread for us to follow. And not always do we follow them. Not always do we recognize or realize them. We are all always receiving messages. And we can choose to notice them, and we can choose to not notice them. And so, Francine, if you really are feeling freaked out by these messages, if you really are feeling like there's just too many of them and they're overwhelming you, it's okay for you to just ask for maybe a few fewer messages, please, guides. And I encourage you to do it not from a place of anger or fear, but rather from a place of just feeling those feelings of uncertainty and confusion and overwhelm. Your guides, the universe, God, they all love you. And they're here to walk with you and assist you on your journey and to throw you those breadcrumbs. And Francine, like I said, sometimes those breadcrumbs are just a, hey, we're here, we're with you. You do not walk alone. We are supporting you. And that's a wonderful thing. So Francine, I really want to encourage you that when you see these numbers and you see the dragonflies, acknowledge it and say thank you. Rather than slamming your car door on the dragonfly screaming, take a breath. Thank you, universe. Thank you, guides. I see the dragonfly. I see your communication. Thank you for that. Now, please stop sending me so many. No, I'm kidding. And then you could follow it up with, I see your messages. I thank you for the messages. I appreciate the breadcrumbs. I appreciate you reaching out to me. And spirit guides, I just please need you to know that sometimes your signs scare me a little bit. And maybe, spirit guides, I know that you are communicating to me in love, and I'm a human, and I don't know all of the things that you know, but all I know right now is that I'm feeling a little unsettled by these signs. And spirit guides, angels, God, I would really appreciate it if maybe right now you only send me a few at a time so that I can get comfortable with receiving these messages. It really is, Francine, about comfort level, because you will come to a point in your life where you'll be receiving messages all the time and not feel freaked out by it. So you'll see the numbers and you'll see the animals and you'll hear the messages in all kinds of ways, and it won't freak you out. It will just be oh yes, I hear that. Thank you. And it will even can be, Francine, in your future, a source of joy and fun and playfulness. Just like that message from the radio. It was just made me laugh so much. It was so joyous. Like, wow, that's incredible. Did that really just happen? Yes, of course that really just happened, because things like that happen to me. and just saying thank you. And I know that I'm loved, and I know that this is wonderful. So Francine, if you're not at that point, which I know from your question you're not, it's okay. I encourage you to also release judgment of yourself for feeling kind of fearful about the signs. You know, many of us, when we first start receiving, and I should say noticing, not receiving signs, because we all always are, when we first start noticing them, yeah, we can feel freaked out. So you are not alone in that, Francine. And you too can come to a place of joyfulness and excitement and gratitude over those signs. So I encourage you to just start by acknowledging them when you see them, acknowledging them to your guides and saying, hey guides, yep, I see that, thank you. And always thanking with acknowledgement, along with the acknowledgement, is my recommendation for you, Francine. And then again, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, you can just ask for fewer signs right now. And your guides love you. They don't want to scare you. They'll work with you on that. And like I said, if there's something that they really need to get across to you, don't worry. They will, and they'll make it clear. So if you are wondering if you're receiving a sign and you're like, I don't know, is this really a sign? It very well may not be if you're not sure. And if you're not sure and it is a sign, it'll come back. So, Francine, this is such a wonderful question. Signs, what a fun topic to talk about. Thanks for this great question so we could talk about signs. And I got to tell a couple of my signs stories. That was really special for me, Francine. So thank you so much. I appreciate this question and this opportunity. Now, I'm going to draw a card for you, Francine. I am a little hesitant to draw some cards for you because honestly, I don't want to worry you. I don't want to make you nervous. I don't want to give you more signs that freak you out. But I am going to draw 2 cards for you, Francine. I'm going to draw an Archangel card, and I'm going to draw a Breathe Easy card. So, let me draw an Archangel card for you, Francine. Now, Francine, again, I want to encourage you that if something comes up in this card that, freaks you out a little bit or makes you nervous, I want to encourage you to take some deep breaths and to say thank you, angels, thank you, guides, for that message. And thank you, please. Maybe not so many messages right now. All right, let's see what has popped out. Thank you, angels. Nurture. Archangel Gabriel says, as you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. Okay, so Francine, what I am getting from this card is an encouragement to approach the signs as a child might. Approaching them with a mind of wonder, with a mind of amazement, with the mindset of play. And saying, wow, this is pretty amazing. All of these signs. Wow, look, another 11:11 on the clock. Or, wow, another 4:44. Hey, there's that cardinal again. How cool. Whoa, awesome, neato. I don't know that kids say neato anymore. But anyway, just approaching it, Francine, from the mindset of a child and the way in which a child might. And I do think that signs really help us to awaken our inner child that so too often lies dormant within us. And so too often we ignore and don't nurture. I think that receiving signs, recognizing signs, being aware of them can really help us to get in touch with that inner child that's in there and wants to come out and play, but that we too often push down, and that culturally speaking, we really don't acknowledge and praise enough. So bring that inner child out to play, Francine, and I encourage you to recognize the signs as play. I know from messages from my guides, like I said, that that oftentimes the universe, our guides, angels, really do see it as play and just see it as fun. And sometimes they're just having fun with us. And I think that if we can approach it from that mindset, it can really help to alleviate any feelings of fear that we might have surrounding it. So let's get a Breathe Easy card for us, Francine, for this situation of the signs and ways to approach this experience, ways to work through any anxiety that we might have. You know, I think from your question, Francine, ultimately to me, the anxiety is all about these signs pointing to something that is going to happen, that you fear is going to happen. Well, I can tell you that signs are going to come whether or not something happens, and something is going to happen whether or not signs come. You know, things happening is a part of life. Things are going to happen. Good things, bad things, winning the lottery, getting divorced, getting sick, having children. All kinds of things happen in life. Some good, some bad. Some seem good and turn out not so good. Some seem bad and turn out pretty good. And so, Francine, things are going to happen whether you see signs or not. So seeing signs doesn't mean that things are going to happen. I can assure you that things are going to happen, whether you get signs about it or not. Now, seeing signs, hearing signs, because of course we can get signs. They don't just have to be sight. Signs can be heard and felt and smelled. I get smells as signs sometimes. And, you know, this is something that could very well happen with you as well, Francine, where you don't hear or see something, but you smell something. You can feel things. You can just all of our senses, and even, you know, not our direct senses, but our sense of knowing is a way that our guides can communicate it with us, and that we can receive signs as well. And so, you know, these signs don't mean that something is going to happen. It doesn't mean if you see a bunch of signs that, oh my gosh, something bad's going to happen now. Nope. I mean, actually, it could be, but you could still see lots of signs and nothing's going to happen. But sometimes the signs are just there, like I said, to say hi, Francine. So these signs do not mean that something as bad is going to happen. I really want to encourage you to take some steps to alleviate your anxiety about seeing the signs as something that means bad things are going to happen. So when you see the signs, breathing, acknowledging them, recognizing them, acknowledging your angels and guides for the signs, saying thank you for the acknowledgement for the signs. And, you know, doing things that are going to help you to bring you into the moment, to ground you, to alleviate any fears and worries that you might have, including asking for fewer signs. But that's really, I think, at the heart of your question, Francine. is a concern that these signs mean that something bad is going to happen. And I'm here to tell you that good and bad things are going to happen to you, whether you see signs or not. Because that's life, right? Okay, Francine. So the Breathe Easy card that has popped out for you is I am awakened. The sun's dawning brings back warmth, light, and color to a darkened world. I breathe in the infinite promise of a new day. I am filled with the hope that renews my faith in the goodness of all things. I breathe out the dark shadows of the past. You know, what I'm really getting from this card is this idea of awakening, of being awakened. And it's really, when you see those signs, when you acknowledge those signs, oftentimes part of spiritual awakening. And sometimes when we are on our spiritual path and we grow to a new level, it's like I talk about this idea of cosmic revelation. This was actually a phrase that I received from my guides years ago, and the unfolding of the world, of your experience, like a flower in a sense. The cosmic revelation, the opening of the flower. And so as we evolve on our spiritual path and as our own flower opens and we go to new levels and have new experiences of our spirituality, we might have instances where we see or receive, I should say, rather than see, because we know that we don't necessarily only have to see signs, but we receive more signs than usual. And so, Francine, this could be an indicator that you are approaching or have approached a new level in your spirituality and that your flower is opening a little bit more. And that's a wonderful thing to have happen. And I encourage embracing of that. Now, of course, that can feel scary. Whether we're seeing signs or not, as we grow spiritually or just grow in any way, shape, or form, it can feel scary. And so I think it's important to recognize that sometimes when we grow and we get to new levels and new depths with our spirituality, it does feel scary. And so, Francine, embrace the scariness. Embrace the scariness. I think that it, and I don't mean to laugh at your fear, Francine, so please don't think that I'm laughing at your fear. But I think that what this card is saying to me is that you are awakening. You are growing to a new level in your spirituality, in your own cosmic revelation. You've taken some big steps along your journey. And that's reason for celebration. This is really reason for celebration. Even when it feels scary, yes, scary things can be reason for celebration as well. And you are recognizing the signs, Francine, which is a part of awakening. So this is really exciting. I'm excited for you. I know it feels scary right now. It's not always going to feel that way. Well, I should say I can't guarantee it's not always going to feel that way. But the chances are good, Francine, that it's not always going to feel scary for you to receive these signs. And you have the power. You have the power to request fewer signs as you get comfortable with receiving the signs. Acknowledge them to the angels, guides, God, universe. Thank them. And you do have the power to ask for fewer signs. And they'll understand. They already know how you're feeling, and so it's absolutely okay for you to talk to them and request that. So Francine, thank you so much for this wonderful question. I'm really excited to have this question, so thank you very much. And of course, I send you blessings and best wishes for your journey. And I want to say to everyone, I send blessings and best wishes to all of you. And for the signs that you receive, please do feel free in the comments to mention signs that you receive, or tell a story about signs that you receive or have received. Or if you have encouragement for Francine with this question, please do offer them in the comments. That would be absolutely wonderful. You are also welcome. I'd love to invite you to please stop by my new Facebook group, Encouraging Your Journey. This is a brand new group that is devoted to encouraging one another during our life changes and challenges and transitions. So please do stop by the Facebook group and offer up your experiences with signs. This is a wonderful topic. And finally, I also want to invite you, if you have a question for Ask the Stones, please do submit your question to me. You can send me an email at christian@standingstoneshealing.com. Send me a message on Facebook. I'm at Standing Stones Healing. Get a hold of me in any way, shape, or form that you may choose, and I will be happy to answer your question on Ask the Stones. And please do remember that I always change names. So Francine is not Francine's real name. Names are always changed so that so that anonymity is assured. So there is no chance of someone knowing who you are. I also sometimes strip details that might be identifying. So your anonymity is guaranteed. But thank you all so much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you joining me. I send you blessings and best wishes for your journey. Again, I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, encouraging your journey with Reiki, card reading, and coaching. Blessings. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Stones. If you have a question for Ask the Stones, please send me an email at christian@standingstoneshealing.com or connect with me on Facebook at Standing Stones Healing. Thank you, and best wishes for your journey.